Oh my god, I'm live. That's amazing. Alright. It's been a little bit since I last streamed. So, yeah. This sprint should not be here. I have made a terrible mistake. Well, I guess I should talk about what's been going on. So, since I haven't streamed, I think, for like 2 weeks or something. Something close to 2 weeks, maybe. Maybe a little bit more than that. I can't remember. So, yeah, I haven't really been very good with my last couple of sprints. I didn't get anything done that sprint, and technically didn't get anything done this sprint either. So, what's what's happening? What's going on? Why is it why is this falling through? Essentially, I am not really well. If I'm not streaming, I find it very hard to stick to my sprint objectives. And I get kind of caught up in a lot of other things. So, like, there's a couple things I don't. Well, I don't want to talk about on this stream because they're more like big announcements I want to make at my meetup. So, there's some upcoming stuff happening with the Rust meetup as well. I've been in talks with several people. Don't really want to say too much about that right now, since I'm not really ready to, and also this is not the venue for it. What else is happening? So yeah, that's been occupying some of my time. I did a bit of research over the past weekend as well, so just was looking into. Okay, so what led to that? So they on the Idris Discord they have these monthly talks, or they've started doing monthly talks. I don't know if we're gonna have another one next month because they're having a bit of trouble finding a speaker right now. But yeah, I went to a pretty cool talk about like domain-driven design with Idris, and I just wanted to experiment a little bit more with free monadic EDSLs. So I was messing with that a little bit, and I came up with a solution to a problem that I'm having on a completely different project entirely that isn't written in Idris, and it kind of made me go, darn, I wish this could have been written in Idris so I could, solve this problem really nicely using this free monadic EDSL. But it did also give me a lot of ideas for like a new video that I'd like to make. So yeah, if I get around to scripting that and recording it and everything, then maybe I'll actually do that. What else? I guess, yeah, I've had a couple of appointments over like the last weekend, I think, or the weekend before that, I believe. That also took up some time. Yeah, just kind of been busy to some degree, but also did have some spare time and was spending it on other things that I probably shouldn't have been. So I'm gonna just do like a short sprint retro, kind of informally. So I guess things that kind of went well. Things that could be improved, and action items. That kind of really simple sprint retro format. So I want to talk first about things that I think went well. I actually did get some research in, so I didn't just fritter away all my time. Yeah, finding motivation has been kind of difficult, and the stream really helps with that. But yeah, I did actually do a bit of research into routing and PureScript, and I have made some amount of progress with this. Unfortunately, this ended up being a little bit more difficult than I had originally imagined, because I honestly just don't know enough about web development, like client-side routing and all that stuff. And that's what I kind of want to cover today. I want to talk a little bit about that on this stream. In addition to that, another thing that I think went kind of well is I'm now using Nix. So just kind of ignore that error that you saw there. But yeah, I'm actually in a Nix shell right now, and I've installed Nix on Windows. I've got like my home manager set up. If you look at my GitHub, you'll see I do have my own like personalized home manager set up for Nix, and it's kind of small. I've just kind of barely started. I haven't really been learning Nix for very long, to be honest. I think I have probably like a sum total of less than a month of Nix knowledge, Nix experience. I kind of dabble with it from time to time, sort of like how I picked up Vim. Kind of, mess around with it and configure it a little bit more each weekend, and kind of, get myself up to speed. And I'm kind of getting to a point where I'm finding Nix to be pretty usable, but boy howdy, the initial learning curve is pretty steep, I will say, and it's partly because of the documentation. Actually, mostly because of the documentation. I actually kind of want to talk about Nix at some point, maybe on a separate stream, but yeah, Nix it's a bit of a thing, and I really wanted to experiment with it. I wanted to try it out. I might try that and also try a Docker setup for this project, depending on if time permits. I'm probably not going to get around to the Docker setup if I'm experimenting with Nix instead, but yeah, I just want to compare. I just want to compare Nix and, how it feels versus trying to use Docker to solve, I guess, similar problems. There's also a few things that I think Nix does a little bit better, like being able to set up a reproducible dev environment. That's kind of cool. There are also some things that I think make Nix kind of difficult to use, and one of those things being, well, if you looked at this, you'll see that, yeah, I try to set up Rust language server here, and it doesn't work. I don't know why that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So it takes a little bit more configuration to get stuff in Nix to work, I find. Whereas when you're doing stuff in a Docker container, I mean, it comes with an entire OS, right? So usually you just kind of do things the way that you normally would in like your regular dev environment, or like outside of the container, I mean, and it just works, right? Like stuff just works the way that you expect it to. There's no additional configuration that's like Nix specific, or I guess Docker specific in that case. It just works because you basically are, copying an entire freaking operating system into the container and using that. So it's a little bit different. Like, yeah, you're using your operating system of like your actual machine if you're using Nix, but yeah, when it comes to actually doing like builds and stuff like that, I find that you have to jump through a few more hoops than you would have to if you're using Docker, and that's something that I find to be quite annoying. It is very annoying, but I do understand what Nix is going for, and it doesn't exactly serve the same purpose as Docker does. So yeah, it's interesting. I do want to talk a little bit more about Nix, like what it is exactly, and how I'm, or I guess what problems I've run into, what it does well, that sort of thing. Just I guess sort of like a review of Nix itself, but I don't really feel like I can do that at the moment, and I don't really want to do that at the moment, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I've set up like a Nix environment for my project. This is obviously not my project. This is a prototype I just spun up real quick to try and test some routing stuff. But yeah, I did spend a bunch of time on Nix, and that kind of ended up eating into my time for other things. But hey, at least now I have a bunch of Nix experience. I learned a lot more about Nix. I learned how to actually use it, how to make derivations, how to make like Nix flakes and stuff. That's really cool. And I feel a lot more comfortable with this, so moving forward, probably going to be using Nix, and it'll most likely make certain things a lot easier, like, being able to just clone this project on another machine and start hacking away at it, because I can just, reproduce the entire development environment with a simple Nix develop command. So that's pretty cool. I guess that kind of sums up the things that went well. Things that can be improved, definitely not getting distracted. I got distracted by research into EDSLs. It was just kind of... when I saw that talk, I just felt so compelled to look into it, but I didn't have time during the week to really look at it, so I ended up yeah, waiting until the weekend, and then I ended up spending a lot more time on the weekend looking into that than I thought I would. So yeah, time management definitely still very difficult. Um, yeah, it's just not getting distracted is kind of the really big thing. So action item that I'm taking is I'm trying to stream more so that I actually don't get too sidetracked anymore. So yeah, that's how I feel about the project right now. I don't want to spend any more time talking about that stuff because it's just, it is what it is, and there's improvements that can be made. So today we're gonna do a little bit of sprint planning. I think it's gonna be like a half-week sprint because I haven't really. Yeah, because it's a little bit too late to be starting a sprint, but it's okay, I guess. We're gonna delete these notes, of course. So here's the one thing I want to do is I want to finish investigating the PureScript routing stuff. Now, because this ended up being a lot bigger than I thought it would be, I'm not really sure how many story points I can say it is right now. It definitely seems like you can use PureScript routing for client-side routing. It's just I'm not really sure how to hook that up with the backend. Like, how do I make it communicate with the backend? Or do I need two separate web servers? Because I've been looking around at documentation for React, and it seems like they suggest you can actually just replace their Create React app development server with an Express server as like the backend server, and that's fine. You can do client-side routing with that application running as, your backend. So it's kind of weird. I don't actually know, and I don't really see any like conclusive statements about whether or not I actually need to have a separate server just for the front end. I saw some pages on like proxying and stuff. I'm not really sure if that's something I need, or yeah, it's all very fuzzy. It's very fuzzy in my head, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, and that's kind of the sad reality of being someone who's only ever done like either back-end development or front-end development, and nothing full stack. Like, I've done React front ends before for work, and obviously my job primarily these days is to be a back-end developer, but I never really, have had to think about like the glue between the front and the back end for any web app. So this is kind of new and different for me, and I just don't really know. How this is supposed to work. But it's a good learning experience. So yeah, I'm just doing like a regular bundle app here for my Spego, or I guess PureScript project. I haven't fully configured builds with Nix for PureScript. I've got it working with Rust, and the way that you do that is using like crate to Nix, which is honestly kind of silly that you have to use these additional tools just to, build your projects in languages that use other package managers, which is basically every other language out there in the entire universe. But yeah, that's another pain point that I have with Nix, is just you have to learn like an entire new tool every time you want to use a new language or a different language in your projects. It kind of sucks. But I guess now that I've got it working for Rust, any future Rust projects I do will be pretty easy to work with. So anyway, what I've got here is just the example. It's completely verbatim. It's the PureScript routing example. So this is using hash-based routing. Not too sure how that all works at the moment, but we'll, I guess, see when I try running this. So I'm gonna try and replace the backend with Rocket and see if this works. Apparently, the way that Halogen does routing is you use, I think, hash-based routing, or there's another kind of routing. I don't remember the other one, but I'm probably just gonna stick with the hash-based one, since that's what they have in their example. And if you want to actually, check the URL, then you would pull in a library like PureScript routing, which is purely it's like a parser combinator library that provides parsers for URLs, and that's basically it. So it doesn't actually do anything. All it does is it parses the URL for you, and it gives you combinators to help you build patterns that let you check what the URL shape looks like, I guess. So it's very type safe, but obviously it's not strictly necessary if we want to just do a little bit of prototyping here to check if this thing works. So yeah, that's the front end in our little prototype here. I separated out the back end into its own folder. I kind of want to do that with the actual project as well, but I haven't really found the time to do that. It's just going to be like a whole bunch of copy and paste. It's going to be kind of annoying. Basically a little cleanup task, not super high priority or anything. Also, I want to show off my shell.nix because it's the most basic shell.nix in the world. It takes the nix packages as a parameter here, defaults to importing, nix packages from your nix channel. So this is just using the inputs design pattern that is described in like the Nix Pills book. It just makes it so that if you're using this thing in like a flake, you can pass in your own like packages here, and then it just works. But you can also not pass in anything and just run a Nix shell, and it'll automatically import Nix packages in that case. So this just gives it more flexibility by taking packages as a parameter with like a default of importing the Nix packages. And yeah, we just call make shell from packages, and then we give it these dependencies. We give it cargo, spago, and PureScript, and that's literally all you need from what I've seen. Like, you don't even need to get Rust C. Like, if you have cargo, you can just use that to build a Rust project, and it just has its own compiler, I guess. Spago does actually require PureScript though, so you can't just import Spago. So that's something I've learned. And yeah, this is just like a super easy way to just download the dependencies you need. Obviously, this isn't pinned or anything. Like, the versions can vary depending on like when you run make shell and what version of Nix or what version your Nix packages channel is on. So when I update my Nix packages channel, then all these build inputs will change. They'll also be updated to match that package set. But otherwise, yeah, this is pretty good just for a little development environment that you can get going real quick. It's fairly reproducible as long as you're on the same version of Nix packages. So yeah, and of course the proper fix for that would be to either pin the Nix packages somehow. I don't actually know how you do that without using a flake, or of course use a Nix flake and check in your flake.nix and flake.lock file into like a repository, and then everything will be saved to the lock file. It's kind of like lock files for your package managers, like cargo.lock that you can kind of see up there. So yeah, that's our shell.nix. That's the Nix environment that I'm currently in right now. What's kind of cool about Nix shells actually is that you can nest them, and it doesn't really impact performance very much at all. Like, you can go into a Nix shell, and then if you want like some more dependencies, you can enter like another Nix shell from within that Nix shell, and it's very different from Docker, right? Docker doesn't let you, or like you can use Docker within Docker, but then you run into issues, and they don't recommend it. They're like, oh god, don't do that. There's all these articles that say absolutely do not use Docker from within Docker, but you know, you can start a Nix shell from within Nix shells, and that's fine. So yeah, today I want to just go into here and try and figure out if I can get a little Rocket app to work as the backend. So we've gone through this exercise before, but I didn't actually do the routing. Oh yeah, that's right. I need to look up that. There's an issue about this. Rocket Web Framework. SPA. I think it might be this one. Yeah, there's something I have to do with the routing. In particular. Yeah, they recommend another approach. Yeah, file server from relative/static.rank1. So if I try running that, in theory, I should be able to do the routing from the client side, and then I can just send requests to the backend, and those should just work, I think. But I actually don't know. I don't have any confirmation of that, and I might need to do some. I might need to set up some like proxying or whatever. I'm really not sure. So that's what we're trying to figure out today. We're probably not going to figure it all out this stream, because I'm only going to be streaming for like an hour or so, but like, you know, it's a step in the right direction. It kind of gets me going a little bit further. And yeah, I think we can just take this and do whatever they're doing here, because I don't think that things have changed that much since this issue was created. Like, I'm pretty sure that they're on like a later version of Rocket. Right, and I don't think there's a main function. We just need to do this. And I don't think we need any of this stuff, because like they said, you can just do this, and that's apparently a lot cleaner. So I'm gonna have a bunch of unnecessary imports and stuff. And that's just how it is. That is just how it is. Now, I don't know why this is all commented out. Oh, because they commented out one line there. What I really want is to copy this thing down here. Also, I think I might need to bump up the font size even more. I don't remember what I set it to, but I did change my terminal colors too, actually, because the dark blue text by default is just so hard to read. And apparently you can actually just change that by selecting the color here, and then changing it, and then the last color you select is your background color. So this is like such a confusing user interface. It's a crappy Windows thing, but I figured out how to use it, and now I know how to like customize my own like color schemes. So that's kind of cool. I'll bump it up a little bit more. There, that should be better. I think I'm just gonna delete this. Rocket build. I don't remember doing like this rocket build thing. Yeah, I actually don't remember. Let me look at some of the other examples. Sure, we'll use the hello example as our start. Ooh, this is. Oh right, they do this implicit return type thing. I forgot about that. It's a special syntax that I think only exists for Rocket through this procedural macro. Because I've tried this before and it doesn't work. Just in like vanilla Rust. So that seems to be custom to Rocket. Alright, so they mount that. but I'm gonna use a different kind of mount. So I think I still need to go /static. Oops, that's not a slash. Right, so they do that file server from relative /static thing. Rank 1. And supposedly that should work. So now everything should be served content from the static folder, I believe. Oh, I'm already at the end of the line. Okay. Wait, where does this go? If I go up a level, then it'll bring me back out of back end. So then I can go into front end. And I have the index.html at the top level there, so that should be fine. And that's the fallback. I think this is the path that I want for that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember everything. Also, I don't need that module. That's unnecessary. Alright, let's try doing a cargo run. Oh, it actually changes the window size when I leave Vim. That's interesting. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong folder, but actually it shouldn't matter because cargo is pretty cool about that, unlike other package managers. I guess we'll give this a try. Hopefully it works. Okay, looks like it does. So my home manager setup is actually using vanilla Vim, as you can see. I'm just using Vim for everything. I was actually oh, that sucks. Do I need to add a slash? No. Ah. Okay, I don't know how to do this. Response was none. Yeah, that's kind of not good. I might be in the wrong. No, I should be here. Yeah, cd ... cd front end, and then index.js. Oh, that's weird. I'm not sure what to do. So yeah, I'm not really sure why that's not working. That also interrupted my other train of thought. Yeah, so I'm using regular Vim. I was thinking of switching to NeoVim, but I want to wait for it to stabilize the next version, because the only reason why I want to use NeoVim is because of the LSP support. Setting up Vim with LSP is a little bit more painful than setting it up with NeoVim, it seems, based on the documentation and stuff. And I just didn't want to have to deal with that extra, like, scripting that I had to do just to, you know, get Vim LSP working with Rust and Rust Analyzer, and obviously that's not working right now, so just being able to use NeoVim for that would be nice. But they haven't stabilized the release of NeoVim that has LSP support. So I don't want to use an unstable version of NeoVim, therefore I'm not going to bother with NeoVim for now. Yeah, I need to figure out what's going wrong here. CD backend. Because they do mount to slash route hello. But this is not working. This is not working. From relative. I'm starting to wonder if I can't use that. Or maybe... Oh, hang on. I just realized something really dumb. I think I know what's wrong. Oh yeah, I also installed Tmux in my home manager. And I've actually been liking Tmux quite a bit. Currently I'm not in a Tmux session right now because it doesn't play nicely within a Nix shell, but in the future, when I don't have to use a Nix shell to get into... Okay, so I actually have two Nix shells here. I have one for my dev environment, and I'm actually in another one that allows me to use Nix flakes. So I don't want to use I don't. So sorry, I'm stumbling over my words a lot today. It's really weird. But normally to use Nix flakes, you need the unstable 2.4 version of Nix, and I don't want to use that. So luckily, they actually have a package that lets you try out Nix flakes. Oh no, wait, no. I know they do, but it requires the unstable Nix packages channel. So I have a separate channel for like unstable Nix packages, I believe. And yeah, I can just run my Nix shell for using flakes with that, and that way I don't have to upgrade to the unstable version of Nix, at least not yet. But I am looking forward to when they finally stabilize that. I think they're like 53% done their current milestone for that. So it's about halfway there, a little over halfway, which is kind of cool. It's nice. I'm really hoping that gets done soon, but it's been a work in progress for a while now. But yeah, what I'm missing here is I'm missing a index.html, and that's because this is a new project, and I forgot about that. I forgot that would be a thing I might need. So let's go ahead, and I think it's in our KatAM randomizer. It would be nice if you could just like copy a file to like a clipboard and then just like paste it to the directory that you're currently in, like, so I don't have to like remember the whole path and everything. I don't know. I find this cp command, like, it works, but it's more painful to use than I'd like. Index.html. Yeah, how many levels I gotta go up? Like, if I go up 2, I'm in the Rust directory. Then I want to go into the prototype. Then I want to go into the front end, and there we go. That should work. Also have a playground for testing stuff in Rust. I always create playground projects locally because the Rust playground, while it is nice, it only has the top 100 crates available, and sometimes I want to play around with a crate that isn't one of the top 100 crates. So it's just nice to be able to have a little environment to mess around with Rust and check like syntax and like things that are valid or invalid, that kind of thing. It's not always easy. You know, we can leave that, I don't care. Source will be here rather than there. And also that doesn't need to be a slash, I just realized. Because the first thing didn't have a slash. So that slash is actually significant, it turns out. The slash that comes at the end of file names, or like folder names. I don't really know the significance myself personally, but apparently there was an issue that someone had on like the Rust subreddit related to that. And yeah, it's a weird an annoying quirk of Unix. Unix-based systems, if I remember correctly. I don't think I'm an authority on this subject, but yeah, I just know that apparently that slash actually means something, and sometimes forgetting it can have serious consequences, but not like most of the time. Depends on the kind of project you're working on, but yeah, that's interesting to learn. And of course, we didn't have to recompile, so this just works now. Okay. Yeah, that is fascinating. Okay, so that does work. I don't have to do... Wait, no, does it? Does that actually work? Am I confused? No, that has to work, right? I was thinking this is going to be like way more painful than what I'm seeing here right now. I didn't actually read this code, to be honest, so I don't know. Oh, these are hrefs. Handle query. So okay, so like here, like, is this creating a snock list? I don't know what this is. So a snock list is just like a cons list, but like the data representation is reversed or something because it might be more efficient that way. I don't remember how this works. I don't remember how snock lists work. I need to reread that chapter in the Idris book. But yeah, snock lists. Basically, like a reverse linked list, I think, if I remember correctly. Should not modify history. st.history. Okay, so it. Ah, this is a backwards cons. Okay, yeah. This is appending to the end. So yeah, so normally it's like a constant time operation to append to the head of a list. So and you'd use like the cons operator. So you put message first, and then you'd cons it onto the history, and it'd prepend elements. Snock list, you build it up in the opposite direction, so you always postpend your elements, or I guess append. I don't know what the terminology is there specifically, but I know it's like prepend at least in the other case. So yeah, this will take a message. It'll add the message to the end of the list, the history list, and it returns pure just A. So just is a variant of maybe, of course. But I'm not really sure what A is. I guess I can look at change route. String A. Okay, never mind. So that doesn't tell me a lot. Well, that's what handle query do. That's what it do. Sorry, I was just thinking of the silly Yu-Gi-Oh! VR chat video. That's what it do, Yugi. So I think this is just sending that query link A, right? Like that's no. That's what's being displayed. That's the link that I see here. Yeah. No. What am I thinking? What am I saying? This just maps the messages below. Okay, that seems pretty good. And I guess we could use pure script routing to just parse the actual routes here. Yeah, I think that's what we actually want to do. But I'm not going to do that just yet. I don't think that's necessary. At least to prototype that this stuff actually works. Because obviously the routing is working, the client-side routing. I think. Yeah, this is using client-side routing, I'm pretty sure. Because it takes message. Whatever message is. I guess I could just take its word for it and trust that it is updating based on like the URL. I don't know, this is just kind of like a generic catch-all case though. Okay, but message, I can actually see it printed out as a string right there. It's not using show. History should be a list of strings, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's just an array of strings. Yeah, then that means message is definitely a string, which means that message is most certainly the current URL. So if I change it to just link A, like so, and then what? Stop it. Stop it! Buttons, I don't know how to press them. My hands, they don't know what they're doing. Honestly, this doesn't even need to be a do. I could just do pure nothing. We can see what that does. Definitely kind of curious to know what that'll do. I don't know why they have to return the unit there. Yeah, we'll do a Spago bundle app. That should work. Nope, doesn't like that. Unknown value message, really? Are you joking? That's weird. Because this is supposed to be a case of... Yeah. I'm very confused why that doesn't work. Because that's supposed to work. Oh wait, no. The problem is here. Dumb. There we go. That should fix that. There's a bunch of warnings. I don't really care. Whatever. This is just a prototype. Don't have that attitude for production. But for prototyping, I think that's fine. Alright, now we can go back to our back end. And we can do cargo run. Oh, we actually need to... Yeah, I do need a cargo run because I did kill it. That's right. Okay. So I click this one, it'll show up. If I click this one, nothing will happen. Okay, so I do believe that is actually based on the URL. That's really cool. So different things will happen based on the URL. That pretty much solves most of my problems with the client-side routing. However, I still need the ability to query the back end. That, I think, will be a little bit more tricky. So, as far as I know, I'm going to have to send HTTP requests to, like, this app itself at certain, I guess, endpoints. Just to get, and the rocket side of things will handle those requests. I think that's how this works. I don't actually know. But yeah, that's how you do client-side routing. So now I need to figure out the other half of this. This is where things get a little bit fuzzy for me. 'Cause now I need to talk to the back end. I don't know how. XML file on all GET requests are not part of your API. So, oh cool, chat disconnected. Very nice. To make SPAs work, you need to respond with the index HTML file on all GET requests that are not a part of your API. Context and GET to retain the same content. Your application then reads the path and determines what to do. If it is /context, then it'll show the contacts. And if the path isn't defined in React, just show a 404 page. To get or send data to the server, one could set up endpoints like get/API/contacts and post/API/contacts. Make sure to not make any pages in React called /API/whatever. Because they will interfere with the API. Fascinating. I'm gonna look this up. Client-side routing. Send data to or send request. Actually, yeah, let's send data to server. Send data to server because I want to actually send the. Like, I don't want to just change the URL. I think because I want to actually send the form data, right? Like, if the user fills out a config for the randomizer, I want to actually be able to send all those settings to the backend, because otherwise, what is the point? There's no point. Maybe this will help. This might help. There's also this. Server-side apps with client-side rendering. Okay. Rails, Laravel, Django. The routing is done server-side. Yes, the routing here is done through JavaScript. Rendering is done through JavaScript components. Data source. This is an SPA. Yeah, I also learned that what I'm building is an SPA. That's something else that I didn't know about. That, you know, like this style is, you know, single page application, and yeah, I really didn't know what I was doing when I dove into this project, which is, you know, maybe not the best thing in the world, but I'm learning. That's my excuse. I'm learning, and that's kind of the whole point of this project, is to learn. That's why I'm trying out stuff like Nix, and I'm using Rust and PureScript, because I don't always use these tools. Well, I certainly don't get to use them at work. Yeah, I don't care about that. Routing is done server side. Rendering is done JavaScript side. Okay. How the heck do you do that? Vue.js. Okay, well, I'm not using Vue.js, so I actually don't know about that at all. I don't know if that's what I'm... Or I don't know if I could ever do this specifically. Using server-side and client-side templates. Oh boy. have no idea. No finding with browser history APIs. You collect links and the browser just takes care of that for free. Okay. How you do that? Huh. Yeah, I just... I don't know if I want to read this entire thing right now. I just don't think I have enough information about how the back end and the front end communicate. That's kind of the big problem. So I've got client-side routing working properly right now, which is, I guess, okay. Oh, this doesn't really talk about how they communicate, though, I think. Full page loads on every click, though. Okay, that's why. That's interesting. Because, yeah, that was one of the drawbacks that people were listing about server-side routing. So that you'd have to do, like, full page loads. That's kind of interesting. So those data attributes are how they get data from our controller to the view components. How the heck do you get data from the front end into the back end, though? Well, this seems to be another approach that I could try. Alright, let's read this. I'm just, yeah, I don't know. On second thought, I don't know if I need to go into these basics. This seems a little too basic. Like, do I need to call fetch or something? Yeah, this doesn't talk about routing, though. Yeah, it's a single web server. Also, it would be a good practice to use post request method. Hmm. Yeah, this is gonna take a while. I don't know how to communicate with the back end. Man. I imagine it's gonna be exactly the same in Halogen. Oh, God, this is gonna... Was it this? I don't remember. Yeah, so I've basically done the equivalent of this in Rocket. Development and in production. Hmm. Hmm. Example API returns a JSON object like so. Alright. Yeah, but is this what I need to use? Is this how you do, like, communication with the back end? Oh boy. People often serve the front-end React app from the same host and port as their back-end implementation. For example, not required. How if you do those, you need to write this off to another host or port during development. I'm starting to wonder if client-side routing is even what I want necessarily. That might be a completely separate concern. Maybe all I care about is this. Because, I mean, for a single page application like this one, I don't think I'm going to be jumping between different different URLs or anything like that. At least I don't think I will. I don't know. I really don't know. Why is this so hard? But no, but then I have to... because I'm going to make requests... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Proxy field. Yeah, this will just be async. God, see, like this makes me feel like I have to use this fetch thing. Fetch request looks a little like this. Okay, that's a basic fetch request. Is there anything more complicated that you can do with fetch? Post requests. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so you can send data in your fetch request. Okay, so yeah, this is getting into the territory of learning about fetch and whatnot. That sounds like the next step. So this task, what about this one? What did I say? Create a small prototype with it if it seems like the right choice. Learn how to use PureScript routing library. You know what? I think I know how this is supposed to be used at this point. I have a pretty good idea. I'd say that the spike is done. So there you go. I'm okay with closing this. I guess I'll leave a note. I'll leave a note. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Or I can say can combine PureScript routing with halogens routing. Or I guess like yeah, you know, that's fine. I think I can understand what I mean by that. As long as I understand it, I think that's perfectly fine. I don't need this tab open. We'll just close that. Sure, we'll add another in progress task. So we're gonna work on this one now. And I think that's what we'll do on Thursday, since I don't wanna stream anymore today. So we made some good progress with the client-side routing stuff. I think I understand how that works now. I think I understand how to use PureScript routing enough to actually use it in the project if I decide I want to actually use it. I'm not even sure I'm going to need this, to be completely honest. But yeah, I need to look into what I need to do to communicate with the backend. Ideally, just sending requests, being able to send like the form data to the backend. This is going to be actually a little bit more tricky. I don't know if this is 3 story points. This might be more like 5. But I think I'm on the right track. There's one thing I wanted to look up real quick, but I actually kind of forgot. It was while I was looking at this. Can you do this? Okay, that seems fine. Yeah, I'm using multi-part form data, so I don't have any issues with that. All right, yeah, I'm happy with this research. I just needed some kind of confirmation that I can send. Yeah, so this guy's trying to do something weird with his form data, when actually he's just set the encoding type to multi-part / form data. So that's, yeah, I think this is fine. This is completely fine. Okay, that's interesting to know. So this is something you can do in JavaScript. I don't know how that's going to work in PureScript. So that'll be really interesting to see. Form attribute specify that binding sources form. Okay, cool. Yeah, this looks like they're doing the same kind of deal where they aren't pointing it at like a remote server. This is like a local backend server. Okay. So routing may be optional. I actually have no idea. I'm gonna have to figure out that whole situation. I think that's gonna be really interesting. I think the main thing that I was struggling with was just how do I communicate between the front end and back end, and client-side routing is like part of that, but it's not really like directly relevant to I guess my burning question here. And I think this fetch stuff is more relevant. So okay, I think I'm starting to get a better picture here. Like I could imagine writing my app in such a way that I don't even need to use any client-side routing. Like I just serve the index.html no matter what, and I don't have any other pages, and then, well, I guess I would need to define like yeah, the API endpoints or whatever for, or like the routes for fetch to use. But then but the rest of it, like actually sending the form data over and stuff, that would be done through the fetch. So the big questions I have right now are how do I use fetch from PureScript, and okay, let me write this down because obviously my brain is not working right now. I don't want to forget this. Burning questions. How to use fetch from PureScript. And do I need proxy setting for this to work? Do I... Alright. Can I use a single server? Or, yeah. And not require sending fetch requests to separate server. So if I can answer those questions, I think I'm going to feel really good. If I can answer those questions, I think we're in a good spot. I think we'll be in a good spot. Yeah, so this is kind of a major setback because I didn't do enough prototyping. When I did the end-to-end prototyping, it just never occurred to me, you know? I just didn't think about how the front-end, back-end would actually need to communicate in the actual application. And all the examples I saw online, actually, yeah, that's the real problem. All the examples I saw online were so misleading, or at least, I guess they're not really misleading. They just did like front-end rendering and that was it. But they didn't actually describe like how would the PureScript apps like talk to the backend and stuff like that. There was no yeah, there was just nothing about that in any of the articles I read. So that's kind of what confused me. But then again, not every article is going to necessarily be covering that sort of thing. It just depends on the kind of application you're writing. So yeah, that's kind of why I got confused, and that's how I ended up not understanding what I needed to do. I'm pretty darn sure at this point though that I need to use fetch. I really strongly feel like that's what I'm missing here. Like, at first, I wasn't sure if that was the right thing to use. Now, like, the more I read, the more I really feel like that has to be it. Like, nothing has explicitly flat out told me what I need, but I feel like I can infer that from the information I've been given. So yeah, that's it for today's stream. I'll be back on Thursday, obviously. I don't really care if anyone's watching these streams or not, because I'm just doing this because it makes me more productive. Alright. I'll see y'all later.